Hello and welcome to another Franchise Hockey Manager stream. My name is Adam. I'm the community manager. With me, as always, and not pictured on your screen, is FHM producer Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back again with the 1932 Americans. But Jeff, this team looks nothing like the last one. What happened?
Well, as I said last week, I kind of screwed up a little bit when we were doing testing for a new update and release. I tend to wind up with accumulate a bunch of save games, and so I don't run out of disk space. I have to periodically clean them out, and I accidentally killed our save in the process. And since it was the first one, I mean, normally we'd have a backup because I would upload the save to you so you could have a look at it. But since it was the first week, I hadn't done that yet, and we had nothing. So I kind of had to reconstruct this as best I could. It's a completely new start from another, it's the same parameters as before, 1932 random debut with the New York Americans. But totally different group of guys this time, so forget what you saw last week. Ignore those guys. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Jeff just loaded up on as many old guys as he could on and put them on our team.
Yeah, I know. I've got to explain how we wound up with this.
Oh yeah, sure.
We got stuck in the middle of the picking order, so you don't really get the top guys, and then you've got to wait another 10 picks before you get somebody else. But I still managed to get Cam Neely, so not too bad. Although it's 26-year-old Cam Neely, so who knows how much time he has left. I did get Jerome McGinley and Doug Gilmore. The problem is they're a combined 78 years old. So pretty much near the end of the string, although we are going to be using Gilmore as a first-line center, as horrifying as that is at this age. The rest of the league is pretty thin, too. I think we got another relatively... Let me just page through them quickly, and you can see going around the league, there's a lot of one-star, half-star guys in the starting lineups, and fairly young players. Pokey Reddick, former Winnipeg Jet, in goal for Boston. Steve Penny, another former Winnipeg Jet, in goal for the Hawks. So I'm not sure who is... there's a few great players in here, but they're 18, 19 years old. So I think we might actually have some of the better goaltending in the league. We wound up with Tuukka Rask and Patrick Lalime backing him up. And Rask is 32, Lalime's only 24, so I think we're reasonably solid there. It's Radcast, it's tradition that we take Rask.
Who takes Rask? I have never once taken Rask.
No, didn't we have Rask in... I'm sure you take them on at least once or traded for him. Done something.
No. Gooder usually makes me take Hellebuck, but that's about it.
Rest of the lineup, got a very young Mike Gartner, so that'll be some scoring after Ginla retires and Neely blows up. Other than that, young Sammy Salo, too, third defensive pair. He's not going to get too many minutes this year. Our best defenseman, Sprague Claycorn. There's a great name. Ottawa, Montreal, and Boston defenseman from the first decade or so of the NHL. Was actually the best part of his career was probably before the NHL was formed, but still finished second in the hard voting a couple of times. So fairly solid defenseman, just not really a modern one. But hey, it's 1932, so it shouldn't matter too much. That's only 4 years after he retired in real life, so he should be okay. Leaf legend Carl Brewer, who had pretty interesting career. One of the early Players Association guys. Actually retired for a while. Got his amateur status back, and I can't remember if he played in the Olympics, but he did play for Canada in the World Championships when we still had to send an amateur team. Gary Bergman, one of the spare guys on the 72 Summit Series. And like I said, Sammy Salo, the very elderly Gilmore and Iginla. And pretty decent depth at center. Doug Risebrough, only 22 here, Flame and Canadian. I think he's a car dealer in Calgary now. I used to see his ads for his dealership whenever I went in to renew my insurance when I was living there. And Larry Patey is our extra forward, but he's only 29 here. But if I remember right, he went downhill pretty quickly in real life. So good checking forward, but we're not going to get much offense out of him. Question in chat from Neely. I'm not going to do the whole number, but we did this when you set up a new game in historical mode. You'll see an option. I can't remember the exact wording, but random debut is in there somewhere. You just click on that, and it'll set your other options for you, and you'll start out with a draft of players that are completely randomized across history. So you can get Gretzky in 1920 or any other setting. Any other possibility like we've got here. You can see I've set up the lines and the rolls already. We're only dressing, was it 15 skaters now and 2 goalies. So only enough for 3 lines, 3 defensive pairs, and I'm going to crank the defenseman minutes on the bottom pair down quite a bit. And,
which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to, in this era, I mean, the top guys are going to play half an hour, basically. Well, they may not get that many, but yeah, take it down to 11 minutes, and I think our forward lines are fairly balanced. Looks like we're actually going to use Risebrough on the first line.
Oh, Jeff picked this old man team.
Yeah, I did not. I just picked it this afternoon myself.
Okay, serious question. Was Doug Gilmour retired by the age 39? Had his knees blown out already? I really can't remember.
No, I think he had 1 or 2 seasons left at that point. Somebody have to look it up, but I think he was still going at that point. All right. I want to. I did run. Let me show you where we are in the emails. There's the training camp development report. So Gartner got a bunch. Chris Tansel, oddly enough, former Whaler, who's on the farm team now. I should show you guys the farm team as well. The New Haven Eagles of the Can-Am League or the Inter-American League. I can't remember what the AHL was called at that point. But we've got some fairly decent potential down there. Young Dirk Graham, Brian McClellan, Norm McIver, Roger Crozier, who's kind of washed up at this point, but he's our third stringer if we need him. Billy Coutu, defenseman from, I think that's like, he only played, if I'm remembering right, only a couple of seasons at the very start of the NHL for Montreal. What's the minimal amount of players you can set? Don't understand the question, Ratcast. What are you asking exactly?
I think maybe you just for 1932, you said it was 15 players.
I think the minimum amount that it'll function with is 10 skaters, but I'm not 100% certain on that. I'd have to look it up. Okay, so that's the lineup. Oh, we wanted to set our wants us to set our captain and alternate. Well, that's pretty obvious there. Gilmour's going to be the captain for the first year, and we'll give the A's to Ginla. And let's see, Neely or Brewer or Quaghorn. Neely's young, but I'm going to be optimistic. He's going to be around for a little while, so we'll put him in there. He's also got the high determination rating, which is a good secondary skill to have for a captain. Okay, tactics. I have not looked at that yet. It's 1930, so I'm going to keep this fairly simple. Move it up the boards. Dump and chase. I got a dump and chase with Cam Neely on the team. That's a given. Crash the net again with Neely. And the D is a little shaky, so I'm going to be kind of conservative on what I do defensively and give them a little bit of help.
Oh, okay. So you're talking a custom game. Can you set it to lower player limits? That's what Ratcast is asking. I don't know that that's an option. I don't think we've ever had that question proposed before.
Okay. Was he talking custom game, or is he talking?
I would say
Yeah,
by that
fairly-
when he's talking, yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be 12 players. I'm not 12 players plus 2 goalies. You'd have to play with it a little to see what it'll let you do.
And Guido, if that's the case, we probably might need to see that save. I think Jeff would say.
Yeah. And let's see. Not going to do anything fancy with the line matching. And I think I'm just going to turn all the unit settings in lower off. And start out using one set of tactics for the whole team. See how that goes, and if we need to get a little more complicated than that, we will later in the season. Done there. I think I used the AA setting, that's why all of these are turned on. But none for the players. Okay, that's alright. I've already set the player roles up already, just need to look at the training. I should mention here that this is... Rask is 32, so I'm going to give both the goalie training to Lalim. This is a test build, so we may get some weirdness happening here occasionally. And yeah, I'm kind of realizing just how young this team is right now. Relatively young, I think so. Yeah, I'm going to be fairly conservative with my bonus points here. That should be about enough. And I will just zip forward through the exhibition season. A little bit of development, nothing too spectacular. I should change the autosave so it's not popping up so often.
Sorry, who did we set as captains?
Gilmore again. Gilmore's the captain again. Neely is the assistants.
That makes sense.
You can see the old school black and white Hawks uniforms there, and 3-0 exhibition win. Or is that? Yeah, that's what. Now we still got 2 preseason games left.
Now, this is the Chicago, is the Black Hawks, not the Black Hawks.
Yeah, this is before the that period where they went to 2 words. Oh, no, while they were in 2 words. They changed that back, sometime in the 90s?
No, it was before that, I think.
Was it the 80s? They were like that when they came into the league, and then they switched to Black Hawks 2 words.
I don't know. That's a great question. Somebody will look that up and let us know.
Actually, I can cheat and do it this way. That should show us in their history. Oh, it's got that season reversed there. Yeah, the database has them right from the start. Okay, season preview. Do we get mentioned anywhere here? We're apparently not a contender. That's the Rangers, not us, that are the New York. That's listed as a contender. And we're not getting mentioned anywhere here, so... Still cautiously optimistic. And I think I'm just going to sim through the games to get us a few months in. And we get blown out by Chicago after beating them in the preseason game. That's not a promising start. Doesn't look like they've got a particularly good team either. Danny Heatley, but he's, I remember seeing him in the draft, he's kind of older. Kuznetsov. Oh wow, 25 defensive game rating from Kudrach. And Rask got pulled after the 4th goal. Oh wow, Lee Stempniak, 4 goals. He must be in his prime there. And Detroit next. Oh, I should set the goalie settings after this. Well, Liam starts the next one, and we lose that one 2-1. We at least make it to overtime? Nope. Okay. Look at my tactics. Whoops, lines rather. Goalie starts. And a pretty big difference between the goalies, so we're going to lean on Rask quite a bit, and it is 1930s, so really only would have been using one goalie.
The Canucks are playing the Hawks right now. What's the score, Jeff? That's what Gudu's asking.
I haven't looked yet. How bad is it? There we go.
You're asking me to go look?
Yeah.
Oh.
Got to play in the game here.
7-1.
No, come on. Really? Don't do that. Yeah, Camille with a hat trick in our first
6 minutes in. No.
6 minutes in. Okay, and naturally, as soon as we get the win, Doug Gilmour gets injured. Bruised neck, but we can just drop Patey right in for him. That's not a big deal. I should have a look if there's any useful free agents kicking around. 37-year-old Liam Couture. How's that sound?
Fantastic.
Fits the general look of the team. But yeah, not a whole lot of...
This is free agents, sorry, we're looking at.
Yeah, I'm just looking at free agents.
Donald Odette.
This is pretty... How old is he?
18.
Oh, it's just lost some potential? Oh, yeah, he does a little bit. That would make sense.
He might be worth a pickup. 30. Oh, there we go. Gears Hunt with a question for you.
Okay, just giving Odette his number. Well, generally it would make sense to. He's asking for role combinations which are better chemistry-wise. It's something I'm kind of working on getting the AI to do right now, figuring that out. There's one thing I want to get done first, but.
Okay, Jeff, you have to go sign him. I just found him. He's in free agency.
Okay, what do we got?
26-year-old future, because we are in 1932, but 26-year-old future Buffalo Sabre Rob Ray is in free agency.
Okay, and I need to sign Rob Ray. Why?
Well, why not, Jeff? That's why not? How do you not love a guy like Rob Ray?
Okay, I'll give him a contract. But getting back to the chemistry thing, I'm working on getting I do that right now. Generally, you would probably want somebody, if you're going to have don't overload on one specific type of role. You don't want a bunch of 3 playmakers. Is not going to be great if none of them are trying to shoot and they're constantly throwing it back to the point or something. You probably want to balance them. Have a shooter, have a playmaker, or something relatively offensive oriented, and then your third role really depends on what you want the line to be doing.
Ooh, there is some very, very low-ranked guys here who I wouldn't think be quite as low as I can tell you they are.
What have I got? Did I put Liam? Yeah, that's the problem. I've got Liam as the #1 goalie. That's why I keep starting.
Brewer is a free agent.
Which Brewer?
Mike.
Okay, yeah, that would explain that. It's not even Richard. And 5-2 loss to the Montreal Maroons. Rob Ray wants number 32. We'll give it to him. And we're going to send him and Audette down to New Haven. Play forward a couple of weeks to see if I can get Gilmore back. And how are we doing? 1-4-0 start. Okay, not great. Montreal Maroons 7-0-0.
Ooh.
Good start for them. Closest Gilmore. Day to day, almost back. And okay, yeah, we can see some of our older guys starting to slow down in the development report. Again on Gilmore, both losing points. But still, we got more guys going up than going down, so it's a good sign. Tansel is really coming along. Is he no, he's still at half a star. See if any of those guys have bumped up a star rating yet. Doesn't look like it. Nope. And Igor Larionov is the player of the month. Defected 60 years early. And a 2-2 tie. Remember ties? It's Ottawa, and the owner is calling this very disappointing so far. Okay, that's fair enough, I guess. Well, in this Gears, answering Gears' question in the chat. In this case, I've got the third line as relatively offensive. But if this was a modern league with 4 full lines, I'd probably have them set as a checking line. So at least 2 guys in checking roles, and depending on what the third one, depending on who the third guy was, possibly a checking or at least a 2-way role. In this case, though, so there's only 3 lines, so I want production off of all of them, and we've got Gartner on the third line. He doesn't really fit as a checker, so I'm just going with the balanced offensive approach here. I may need to shuffle lines around soon if we don't get something going here. And Liam is relatively hot, at least. 3-2 win over the Canadians. And Gilmore's back. And apparently, check out the name of my trainer. In the message, who I've got as my trainer.
Robin Williams?
Yeah.
Nice. Solid.
Sure he's qualified?
Absolutely.
Whoops.
So what did the Americans do in this season in real life? The Americans were never really that great.
They were okay for a few years, but then I think financial troubles kind of caught up with them. Their owner was a fairly well-known bootlegger and speakeasy operator in New York City. So as after Prohibition ended, that kind of screwed his business up and didn't have as much money to spend. Bill Dwyer was the guy's name. And,
they're actually kind of a fascinating read.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try Gilmore on the first line for a while.
Laughter is the best medicine. Oh, it's hard to argue with that.
I'll start giving Rask some manual starts just to see if he does anything, and we lose 4-0 to the Bruins. So, game 1 of the Gilmore experiment on the first line. And Alain Cote is injured. So, there goes our checking winger. It's only 1 to 2 weeks, so I'm just going to swap Patey in for him. Even though Patey isn't really a winger, but give me another at least good face-off man on that third line, or second line rather. Did Rask not stick when I made that change? That's weird. And we lose 4-3 to the Rangers. I'm going to start thinking about what we can change up here. Oh, great, Gary Bergman's hurt now. Out day to day, so I'm going to have to... Well, I'll see if he's back in time for the next game. Nope, going to have to call somebody up from New England. Or New Haven, rather. And nobody better than half a star. Try MacIver, I guess. Ratcast in the chat asking if tactics play into injury or is it random? Not directly, although the injuries are based on in-game events. So if you got guys playing more physical in the tactics and throwing more hits and whatnot, there's gonna be a higher chance of injury for them and to the opponent as well. But it's not going to be anything really outlandish. So trying Olim again, and we get a 7-1 win finally over the Leafs. Stefan Fizet in goal. And where are we now? 10 games in, 3-6-1. We've actually passed Ottawa for last place in the Canadian division. Despite being the New York Americans, we're playing in the Canadian division. So the NHL Board of Governors from the 1930s can explain that one to you. I can't. And having a look at our scoring here, Neely's doing fine. Josef Baranek actually having a good start to the season.
Okay, Ratcast in the chat asked, do tactics play into injury or is it random?
I just answered that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Apparently I stepped away from the mic for a second and missed that. So what was the answer, Jeff?
Kind of. Indirectly they do, because the injuries are based on game events. So if you've got tactics that are hitting more often, that'll potentially cause more injuries to both teams. Yeah, Neely, trading Rask, that might be one option, but I think I'll wait to do that if I'm Not looking like I'm going to make the playoffs, although the playoffs, I think, if I remember rightly, are fairly generous here because I think it's the top 3 in each division. Can't remember for sure.
Trade everybody away, like the call.
And 3-1 loss to Ottawa, so that's probably back, puts us back at the bottom of the division. Unless we can win against the Rangers here. And we cannot, 4-2 loss, so we're almost certainly, yes we are, 12 games and dead last in the league.
Sounds like a normal stream then.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying this was going to be an easy one because there are so few teams in the league right now. We'd actually have a shot at the cup.
I didn't say it was going to be an easy one.
You implied it.
I said that's why you picked it. But I never said it was going to be.
Okay, Rask really needs to get going here. And a 5-2 loss. I'm going to have to take a look at the stats soon and just try to see exactly what's going wrong here. Oh, great. Somebody else is injured. It's Bergman again. Day-to-day, cut himself shaving or something, I guess. Try Katu up instead of MacGyver this time. And give Fizea a start, give Lalime a start, and we still lose to Toronto. This is going from bad to worse.
Definitely sounds like a stream game.
Alright, what can we do about this? So the terrible D seems to be the worst problem, despite the fact that we've got pretty good goaltending. Let's take a look at the stats. Cleghorn's doing okay. Game rating is reasonable. Sort by the game rating. Oh wow, the right side of the D is getting killed. 50, 51, 51 for the all right-handed defenseman.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, great, now Carl Brewer is out with a black eye. Yeah, because look at that, 1 star and 2 half-star guys. I'm going to have to call somebody up from AHL. I guess that'll have to be MacGyver. I'm not going to be able to do anything yet until those guys are healthy. Okay, come on, Rask. Do something here. Finally, we beat the Canadians 3-2 in overtime.
Hooray!
Ginla with the overtime goal. Ginla's actually scoring a fair bit for us so far. Well, maybe we'll get an extra season out of him. And this is, I should mention, this is with FHM development turned on, so which is the default for random debut games. So Ginla, Gilmore, etc. aren't necessarily going to retire at the same age they did in real life. And 2-1 loss to the Wings. Okay, I'm going to have to start being... Once I get all my defensemen back, I'm going to have to overhaul this thoroughly, I think, because we're already at the new year. And try to turn something around in the second half. We get nobody mentioned at all in the player poll.
Not unsurprising.
Development report, oh great, Rask has started to go downhill. So yeah, that's looking like we should probably be moving him. When is I think the trading deadline is still, yeah, it's January 31st. Yeah, super early because the schedule is shorter. Let's get Bergman and Brewer back first before we decide what we're doing. See if we can steal one against the Bruins, and Rask gets a 1-0 shutout. First one of the season, I think. So maybe he's finally starting to warm up.
Here's hoping.
And the board is saying we're very disappointing, but improving slightly. Oh, and actually it looks like our job security is just fine, so I'm not going to worry too much about that.
Well, Gearson says MacGyver. He can fix anything. Duct tape and bobby pins.
Not to be confused with MacGruber.
MacGruber!
And Rask, second shutout in a row. So he's finally waking up. What's that done for us in the standings? Anything? Yep, got us ahead of Ottawa. And Carl Brewer's finally back. And Gary Bergman is almost back. So I'm going to put both of them back in, and we will juggle the lines around now at this point. Although I'm wondering if I should maybe keep one of MacGyver or Coutu up and send down one of the half-star guys. Lovejoy is doing nothing. Is Sal done? Yeah, Sal has at least scored a little bit. Okay, Salo or Lovejoy is going to New Haven. MacGyver is going to the right side. Coutu goes to New Haven as well. And actually, how's Gilmore been doing on the first line? Only 7 points. I think Risebrough was doing a little... Yeah, Risebrough was definitely doing a little better, so I'm going to put him back in the first unit. Adjust the ice time slightly. I thought that... Okay, and forward we go. Got 3 weeks to the trading deadline. Playing Ottawa. Rask is finally hot. And a 4-2 win. So is the season finally turning itself around here? Gudu asking.
Fingers crossed.
Gudu's asking who the highest rated players in the league at the moment. Let's see, we got Scott Stevens, who's only 20, but on the Montreal Maroons. Teemu Selanne in Boston. Ryan Miller.
Oh, that's so wrong.
In Ottawa, Igor Larionov in Montreal. Ryan Callahan in Detroit. And I think those are the only... Oh, Phaneuf is the other one on the Rangers. Those are the only 4-star guys that are above. But that's the top end of the league right now. You can see we got a couple of guys in the top 15. But it's not an incredibly deep league at this point. You tend to get that in the when you start a random debut game in the 30s, because it's just pulling guys.
Can you?
Go ahead.
Radcast said in the chat, can you start playing and take over the team with the first pick in this mode? Yes.
Yep.
You just don't assign yourself to a team.
Yeah, and just take whoever's got the number 1 overall. And a 3-1 win. Another shutout for Rask. Finally got some momentum here. Climbing up the standings. And Cleghorn with a stiff forearm. But he's good enough to play, so this is the 30s. We don't let guys sit out for crap like that. And we lose in a 1-0 shutout to the Hawks. But at least we've not great. Sammy Salah's injured. That's inevitable, I guess. Tailbone dislocation. That sounds like it's painful. How'd you dislocate your tailbone?
By falling on it too much. Very much just like Sammy Sosa.
Gonna try bringing up Andre Padan instead of Lovejoy and put him into Salah's spot.
Why did you draft so many Canucks? That's the better question.
I suppose you wanted me to take Jets instead?
Absolutely.
Oops, I needed left side.
You could have drafted Timo Solani. Instead, you took Doug Gilmour.
I had no opportunity to draft Timo Solani. It was a long gone before my pick came around. Oh, what am I doing? Actually, I'm going to put in Kutu on the Salah spot. Okay, back to Ottawa again, and one thing about the small league, you get to play see a lot of the same teams, and we lose 1-0 again. So a little offense would be nice. Cleghorn back to fully healed status. And the Wings win in overtime. Now we got about 2 weeks left before the trading deadline and possibly the end of Rask's time with us.
Absolutely.
Although I'm not sure what
this
kind
is
of
what
offers
you get
we get for him.
when you trade for Toronto or draft Toronto Maple Leafs.
Speaking of the Leafs, here they are.
Sorry, Jeff, you're kind of cutting in and out a bit.
I was going to say we got the Leafs just as you happened to mention that, and we lose 3-2 to them.
Of course.
They were, I think, a fair bit ahead of us in the standings. That's not that surprising. How are we doing? 24 games in, 8-15-1. The only reason we're not in last is because Ottawa is so bad.
Go bad, Ottawa.
And we got shut out again. Come on, guys. How many goals is that in the... Oh, it's like 4 goals in our last 8 games. Apparently Salah was the key to our offense. I'm going to have to switch Gilmour and Risebrough around again. Oh, why is Kutu on I changed rules a bit. I think I'm going to leave them as they are there. think I may need to shift some guys into more offensive roles. That might be part of the problem. Well, we do get a 3-2 win against the Wings there. Gartner gets a couple of goals. And Cleghorn injured for the 3rd time this season. Oh wow, we got Kudroch out too, so... Are we going to get any of those guys back by the next game? Nope. So I need 2 defensemen. And I think after this we're going to look at making a move, and that's all I've got left. Wow, this is ugly. I'm going to have to sign another defenseman just to be on the safe side. So, well, there's at least a few guys with a little bit of potential out there. Kevin Dean. And that's the only one with more than 1-star potential. I'll give him a deal. And try to patch together wow, this is ugly.
Quebec. Sam Demand says.
Oops. Oh, I didn't want Dean up. I wanted Padan. And I'm going to have to put Salo on the injured list to make room. This is not going to be pretty. Oh, we actually got a point. Well, no, we don't get a point because there are no overtime lost points in this league. 3-2 in overtime to the Rangers. Could have been worse, I guess. And we're... Need to give Padan a number. I think I can get us to... Now we got the trade deadline warning. Might as well play one more game with this. Oh, great. Again, let's hurt now.
Why are you trying to get everybody hurt before you try and trade everyone?
Doesn't seem like a great strategy, does it? Maybe Gardner will start scoring with the extra ice time. Wow, 7-1 win over Montreal. And yeah, turns out Gartner did do something with the extra ice time. 2 goals. Ben Lovejoy with 2 goals and an assist. Wants to keep his job, apparently. And after that game, I'm going to give these guys one more... And they win again, 3-2 over Chicago.
Trade them all. Trade them all.
Do I have any more games before the deadline? We got the Leafs, alright, on the trading deadline, so... Advanced stats, Salo is almost ready to come back. Cleghorn is going to be ready. Okay, let's see what we can get for Tuukka Rask. Shop them around. Got a few offers here, it looks like. Oh, 6 of them. Montreal wants to give us Jamie Devane. Forget that. Center legend Gary Shchuk from Boston. Nope. Callum McKay from Montreal. Nope. Brendan Ranford. He's 28 from Chicago. It's the best one so far, but that's still not great. Actually, I should go back and recheck these.
Shopping for a first-round pick.
Joel Kwiatkowski from Detroit. No, not even going to bother looking at that. Dmitry Yushkevich from the Rangers. That's better, but not great. I'm going to have to try... let's see who's looking for a goalie. Nobody, apparently. Although, I think Montreal, if I remember right, had... Glenn Hall's developed a little bit since I looked, so forget that. Chicago's goaltending's pretty bad. Let's see if I package together Rask. And the assistant says it's well balanced if I ask for a first round pick. You think I should ask for any more?
Just try the first round. See if you can get... Does it make sense to have two scouts, one to check potential and the other to check ability when scouting a league to get a better balanced player report? Absolutely.
Yep.
In fact, you should have as many scouts as you can afford. Right, Jeff?
Yep, now that you mention that, I've got to go look at what I set my scouting settings to. So I think I forgot to turn them on. Oops.
Jeff always gives me bad information saying I scout too much, but I think it's impossible to scout too much.
Okay. Yeah, see, they're not going for the first rounder at all. You see if Chicago's got any decent young guys that we can try to steal.
Well, a second rounder wouldn't be terrible either.
Yeah, I'm just going to check the... oh, Kuznetsov is only 1 star. He's only 20, so I thought that was one of their better players. Turns out he isn't. But nothing that impressive. Okay, let's try the second round pick then. Maybe it'll be a strong draft. Still saying it's too weak, but they're not completely rejecting it now.
Try and add like a 8th round pick from us. How many rounds is there?
4.
Try and add the 4th. And see if they'll throw in a prospect. If you get.
They already accepted it, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that. So we will call up Roger Crozier from New Haven. Sign us another goalie. Think I should make any other deals?
No, that's probably pretty good. You're going to sign a goalie? I saw James Reimer is available.
Yeah, there he is right at the top of the list. Let's do that. Oh, well, he's 32 here. But he's just our 3rd string emergency guy, so... Okay, Reimer looks like he's going to sign. Let's try... I don't know, we can't do anything with Iginla because he's hurt. Gilmore's already declined to 2 stars from his starting 2.5.
So time to trade Gilmore?
Gonna try shopping the captain.
I like that.
Oh, we got a bunch of offers back. Fourth rounder from Montreal. 20-year-old Dylan Reese. 1-star potential from Ottawa. Nope. 22-year-old Ron Martin. 2-star potential from the Leafs. Maybe. Jordan Oesterle. That's another possibility. Ooh, 2nd-round pick from the Maroons.
That sounds like a winner to me.
Washed up Thomas Kaberle from Chicago. Jeff Penner. Yeah, that's... He's like 34.
Oof.
I'm taking that 2nd-rounder from the Maroons. That's too good to pass up. So we're going to need a new captain. I guess Neely gets that.
You gonna try and trade away a Gimlet too?
He's injured him. I'm not going to get anything for him.
Only there was a way to make him not be injured.
That would be cheating. I'm not you.
I have never cheated once.
Oh, no.
Guido said in the chat.
And I need to call up...
It also helps when you realize that scouting region isn't the same as scouting a league. That is correct. Sometimes it's good to have both.
And I need to call up somebody from New Haven. So the rest of this year is running low on time here, but probably looking at a write-off here. I'll bring up Dirk Graham and use him as a checker on the 3rd line. And when we get back to this, I'm going to probably try specializing the lines a little bit more. I think I wanted that balanced approach that I was going with. Did not work out well. So where do we leave off here? Still ahead of Ottawa, actually. But we're looks like that playoff spot's out of reach. Montreal is 8 points ahead of us. I think this is a 44-game season, if I'm remembering right. 44 or 50, can't remember for sure. $48, halfway. And Maroons leading the league, and we just gave them our captains, so they got to be the Cup favorites. Have a quick look at the scoring leaders before we go. I'm pretty sure you're not going to see any of our guys up there. Mark Tardif, didn't even notice he was in the league. WHA superstar leading the league in points with 38. Looks like he's in a line with Larionov. I'm looking for the Americans logo in here, and I'm not. Baranek is up there on shots, so's Neely. How's Neely doing? 24 points in 29 games, not too bad. We had the top 2 face-off men in the league until we traded Gilmore.
Well, it's not the best, but not the worst either. So.
And a quick look at the stats for the season. Might as well get everybody in there. Baranek is actually leading us in points, surprisingly enough. He was like a mid-round pickup, too. Got lucky with him. So we're going to be looking for probably a center in the draft, I think. Need some kind of scoring to carry us, and maybe a right-handed defenseman, too. Unless Salo is going to come along a little bit, I would hope. But I think we will wind it up for here and then play the second half of this season. And I don't think we're going to see the playoffs, but into the next year on the next stream. So do you want to wind up there, Adam?
Sure. So as long as Jeff doesn't delete the save again, right?
Well, we got the backup at least to start from this time if I do that.
Well, let's hope that's not the case.
See, I'm saving it right now.
So, thank you very much for tuning into another Franchise Hockey Manager stream. We typically stream every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/OOTP Developments. All of our streams are archived on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/OOTP Developments. You can also reach out to us on our Facebook page. We're facebook.com/Franchise Hockey Manager. On Twitter, we're @Franchise Hockey, where you can find on our Twitter profile a link to our official Discord channel. You can also come on down to our official website, which is ootpdevelopments.com. Click on the community button in the top right-hand corner, and that will bring you to our official forums, where you can come talk about Franchise Hockey Manager, Out of the Park Baseball, MLB Manager, or anything else you want to talk about. Jeff, I think I got everything.
Yep, I think I pretty much covered it. We're still, I said, we're working on the next update. This is a beta version of that. We didn't crash tonight, so that's always good. But we fixed a few problems with it. Still got that stupid issue with the sorting being broken. I'm going to try and get that done before we get the guys to get that fixed before we push this update out. But got a bunch of multiplayer stuff fixed. The CSV export options, which is something people have been asking for a lot, are going to be in the update. So that's coming very soon. And I don't have a definite date for it yet. I want to do a couple of longer term tests, so it may slip to early next week, but it's tentative at this point.
We are hard at work.
Yep. Okay, thanks everybody for coming out, and we will see you back next week with the expansion Quebec Nordiques, where we will also miss the playoffs.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, you're still above 500 though, aren't you? It's still a fairly impressive performance. Better than I'm doing here, at least.
We're hitting the trade deadline though.
Yeah. So time to start moving, guys. Doing what I just did. Okay, thanks everybody for coming out, and we will see you back here next week.